We're live.
Hi, everybody. We're so excited to see you here today. This is Jumping Instructors Live, and it's Free Fall Wednesday. It's the last Wednesday we're going to be doing this program. We'll still be doing it on Mondays and Fridays, but wait until you see the new shows that we're going to be providing for you during the weeks now. We're so excited to share them. Anyway, I'd like to introduce my co-host and producer, and that's Laura Kelland-May. She's a Canadian senior hunter, jumper, equitation, hack, judge, and steward. And she also speakers. She also speaks at national horse-related trade shows internationally. I'm going to give it to you now, Laura, because obviously I can't get my words right now.
No, I think we're all having a little bit of that today, aren't we, Randy?
I don't know. Jay looks pretty quiet over there.
Yeah, well, we're going to get to Jay in a minute, but I'm looking for the intros for all you people. So I would like to introduce my co-hosts, Randy Thompson and Patty Downing-Nygaard. Thank you both for being here, and our special guest today, Jay Duke, who's going to talk a little bit later about what he's planning. But I'd like to introduce Randy, who is an expert in the horse field and also the founder of the Jumping Instructors Facebook page. Thank you very much, Randy, for having us with you today. I would like to hand over the reins, though, to you, Randy, and you can introduce your guest.
Obviously, we've lost all of our bios today.
We've lost all of our bios.
I have a bio right here in front of me.
Who's
Want me to introduce somebody new?
Who do you have?
I have Robert's bio in front of me.
Oh, no, we're not ready for him. He's not a guest.
Well, I know, but I have the bio. I'm just saying I got the bio.
Okay. I just sent that to you. Let me tell you a little bit about Jay. He's actually been a guest on one of our shows before, so many of you know who he is. But Jay is a Canadian senior course designer who was named the leading male rider at the Spruce Meadows North American Tournament in 1994, and he represented Canada on the Nations Cup team in both the U.S. and in Canada. Jay will be sharing his tips he shares his tips. He's got his own website, Echo Vault, where you can go and get more information on what he has to provide.
Yeah, and I'll put that link in the chat here. I would like to go back, though, and introduce Randy properly now that I found the thing. Randy's been coaching professionals and certifying riding instructors in the horse industry for over 25 years, including business and marketing. She's a professional speaker at horse-related trade shows and is a horse industry legal consultant and horse expert witness. Randy's a founder of several Facebook pages, including Jumping Instructors and Dressage Instructors. I'll put information about Randy in the comments so you can get to those and make sure that you like and give the Jumping Instructors a thumbs up. Well, thank you very much, Randy. Thanks for putting up with me for getting all that stuff lost in the chat
right.
here.
We never know what's going to happen with us.
We never know what's going to happen.
Patty?
Yeah, and I got Patty here too. Hi, Patty.
Hi, Laura. Hi, Randy. Hi, Jay.
Hey, Patty.
Hi, Patty.
Patty is a USEF large R hunter, jumper, and equitation licensed judge and has been a judge for over around 35 years and judges at some of the most prestigious shows in North America, including Devon, Wellington, Harrisburg, Hitz, Marshall, and Sterling finals, and the West Coast Pony finals. I'm getting distracted because there's people coming in your doorway. There's a little dog.
Say hi, Ron.
Hi, Ron.
Thank you very much, Patty and Randy and Jay, for being with us today.
I'm glad to be here. And Ron's glad to be here. And you met the dogs. Where life is good.
Hi, Ron. Oh, and the dogs, too. Yeah, I just saw the door creep open. I hope my doors don't creep open.
No.
Well, what should we get started with talking about today? We've got so many changes that are happening. How about if we talk about, let's see, we've had some really great guests these last weeks. I mean, we started off with Jay, and then we've had, we've had
Diane
Carney,
Amy
Paul from Oxfields. We've had Diane Carney Amy Center,
Heidi
Heidi
Hildebrand.
Hildebrand.
Yeah. And other people.
And other people. And we have more exciting people coming up. We've just been having so much fun. We put this show together to make a difference for you.
This is a bit like our nighttime stuff, you know.
I know. We do.
Except for I'm drinking tea.
But we started doing this so that you would have an opportunity to be inspired and enjoy yourself with other horse people as we go through this time of the, of the pandemic. But anyway, let's announce our guest that we're going to be having Monday. Patty, do you want to tell us?
Well, yeah, Robert Robold is going to join us on Monday, and he's going to discuss a lot of different things. But Robert is from Merritt Island, Florida, and he has a farm. Is a farm called North Hammock Stables, and he's been in business for more years than I'm going to say because I'd be embarrassing for him. But he started off eventing, and he had a lot of help from a farrier. We were talking about this last time. How do you get from point A to point B in this business? You have to have some talent, and you have to work hard, and somebody has to see you. And he had a farrier that just thought he was the best, and he sent him off to ride with various different people. He'll explain all that to you. But he went to Europe and worked, and he broke young horses, and he learned how to do horses in hand, and he's going to talk about that also. He's won many national championships in 11.
What about the short stirrups? What was that? 7 national short stirrup championships?
I don't know. I don't see that on here.
It was in the bio.
Well, I'm looking at it, but anyway, he has his large R, and he's fun, and he's smart, and he's been in the business for a long time, and he's also is a partner in an accounting business. That they do a lot of equine accounting. So it'll be kind of interesting to do that. And he's judged the Zone 12 finals, and he has 11 national champions and 11 silver stirrup awards.
What's a silver stirrup award?
I'm not sure. You might have to Google that. Okay. Somebody can Google that. He evented as a teen, and then he moved up to the hunters and the ponies. And he's an amazing guy about working with horses in hand and getting them to stand correctly. And, we compared it. Robert and I were talking yesterday, and I compared it. It was like one of my good things. I said, it's like taking a selfie. Everybody takes a selfie, and they make everything look better.
That's right.
Well, when you stand a pony or a young horse, you want everything to look better.
So you
learn how to do that. So Robert's going to talk about that, and that'll be really fun. And he's also doing a little. They'll put the sites up on the jumper page, but he's also doing a position correction thing for. Pardon me.
In Holland.
In Holland, yeah, they're sending stuff to him from Holland, which I think is really cool.
Yes.
And so anyhow, so we're becoming quite international. I mean. With Jay and Laura and you and me and Robert and Holland, and I'm going to get my friend from the Bahamas on here.
So please do. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So that's going to be our special guest for Monday. We haven't decided who we're going to bring in on Friday yet, because sometimes we just like to surprise you. So we will have somebody for Friday too. But let's get started and talk a little bit about the shows that we're going to be starting with you guys. So we have. Can you show the banner for the new Facebook banner for the page, Laura? Can you put that?
I can show that. It's going to take up all of our faces.
Oh no, you're going to hide our faces. Oh
no. Oh, there's Jay. Oh, you see, it doesn't work. Okay, just a second now. I got to go back here.
This is Jay. You didn't know this was going to be a learning experience.
Right.
Jay, I didn't realize that I should have had a mimosa or a Bloody Mary before the show.
Now you know.
I missed that memo, but thanks for the tip.
This is a new banner. If you look at
Jay, you're famous.
You go to the jumping.
My name's not on there.
You'll see that we've got a new banner, because we have 2 new shows that'll come, and you'll see the Jay Duke show and riding position fixes. And we're going to go into that a little bit now, so you have a better idea of the new shows we have thought of created just for you. Okay, we're going to start with Jay. So he's going to be doing a show on Monday nights. It'll be at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Right? And Jay, do you want to tell us what you're going to be doing with your show?
Well, this is pretty exciting, Randy. Basically, I'm turning my articles that I've written for magazines such as Chronicle of the Horse, and we're turning it into a show. And I've been, so we've gone from a blog, and then the next step, of course, was going to be a podcast, but I kind of seem to have skipped over the podcast part, and we're going straight to your show. So this is a great, great opportunity to bring different parts of the horse world to the people that are in the horse world, to see, kind of the inside, what happens in the back doors. We're going to be addressing some topical issues, just as I do in my articles. And hopefully,
well, tell us some of those topical issues. Not everybody has read your articles yet because, they didn't know who you were until today. Or until the show that we had you.
I guess I'm known as the person that asks the questions that people think about but don't talk out loud about. And there's all sorts of things. I mean, we have a wonderful sport. Not everything is perfect, of course, and nor can it be or will it be. But I'm always looking to try to bring things to light to make the sport better for everybody involved. And so sometimes you got to ask tough questions. Sometimes you rub a couple people the wrong way with that.
What are some of the topics you've written about that you're going to be developing into more with the live show?
Well, definitely.
The possibility is so people have a general idea of where your thoughts go.
Our second show is going to involve 3 specialists on concussions and head injuries. They're involved in the racehorse industry in America. One of them is a doctor. The other 2 are experts in the field. And so we'll have a very interesting panel to discuss concussion safety and awareness in riders. So that's probably my biggest topic.
Well, it is, because you found, and we can all discuss this for a minute, we have found that, I certify riding instructors for the Certified Horsemanship Association, but one of the biggest issues that people have that are professionals is they really don't know when their riders has a concussion.
Yes, and that's when people are at the highest risk.
Right.
The first blow is not, generally is okay per se, as long as you take care of yourself. The biggest risk is when people have a second blow to the head when they are already in a concussed state. And of course, a concussed state can last for days, weeks, months,
years.
So, and potentially years. And so there is, that's where the high risk comes in. So I've written articles about that, and I'm very excited to continue to try to, I did an open letter to USEF last month. It was very well received by the public, very well received by USEF regarding my experience on the winter circuit this year at Desert Horse Park. My daughter had a very scary fall and hit her head. And there was a lot of great things that they did, and the show management was fantastic, and the care and everything. I can't go on and on about how wonderful Desert Horse Park handled it. But there were still issues that I had with USEF that I feel could make it better and safer for the participants and the riders, trainers, everybody involved. And
well, let me ask you a question, Jay, as we're going into this part, and that is for the person that's out there who has a rider hit their head, what are the steps they should do to protect that rider?
Well, first of all, let's get tested. Be aware of what concussion symptoms are. I guess let's start here. If your rider hits their head in a lesson, stop. Just don't continue on with that lesson or not, because often you'll hit your head and you may be okay, but then the next day it shows up, or the next week it shows up as something much more serious.
That's
so
right.
my first tip is don't risk it. It's not, that horse will be there tomorrow, that trainer will be there tomorrow, the arena. Even if you're at a horse show, you can show tomorrow, or you can show the next week, or whatever it happens to be.
And they don't have to get back up on the horse, because so many people have been taught all their lives, if somebody comes off of a horse, you have to get them back on again, right, ladies?
I think that's changing, though. I think people realize it now.
Right.
And, and I know if somebody has a fall, they have to be checked out by the medic before they get back on again.
They do in Canada. Yes, I don't know that.
They do in the States also.
Yeah, I don't know.
If they have a fall, they're supposed to be
At a
checked out.
competition, right?
Yeah,
At a competition.
At a competition, yeah,
rule.
sorry, that's right.
Unfortunately, some some show managers and management, they enforce that rule more so than others. And,
well, somewhere there's some sort of responsibility for yourself too, as the trainer. The trainer can insist that happens, whether the management doesn't or not.
100%.
And I've had in the jumper ring, I've been blessed in the hunter ring not to have any bad falls, but I've had a couple of bad falls, and I've made the medic go talk to that person before they come back in my ring.
Yeah.
So I think everybody's kind of on the same page, just sometimes they don't want to admit it, or they don't want to be there because they want to keep horse showing or doing, because we're all obsessed with the horse showing.
Right.
I mean, we're all obsessed.
Are important. So, Jay, what was the first show you were going to do? I think you were going to talk to a course designer.
Yes. So I have already a pretty good group of people going to be coming on the show. We're actually
so excited in
September now. But just a list of some of the guests we have that will be coming out. We have Diane Carney, who you're familiar with on this show. Hope Glenn, who's a wonderful
Hope's great
coach and rider and trainer. I've got 2 farriers coming on. I'm a big proponent of having great farriers work with your horses. I've got 2 women from California that are top in the nation, top in the world as far as that goes. I think that'll be a very interesting show. Steve Hankin from Desert Horse Park and some of his crew will be on. Peter Grant, who's an FEI designer. Bobby
Love
Reed,
Peter,
national judge. We have Ashley and Steve Bond that we're looking at getting on. So our first guest, and that's just to start with, our first guest is going to be Guilherme George. He was a course designer for the Rio de Janeiro Olympics in 2016. He is my favorite course designer in the world because I think that he is the most fair to horse and rider, while still presenting wonderful challenges to horse and rider. And it's an art form, believe me. I'm a course designer, certainly not on his level. And it's very tricky, very challenging job. And he's a great guy, and I'm really excited to have him as our first guest.
Oh, good.
that's exciting. It sounds like it's going to be fun. I might even watch.
You're welcome to. It's on Monday evening, 7:30 Eastern on Jumping Instructors Live.
And that'll
We love that.
be May. When does that start? You're going to start it in May 4th?
We're starting May 4th, and we're going to run every Monday evening. We figure Mondays is a great time to do it, as that's generally our day off, our travel time. This is when I have most access to the guests, and hopefully you can watch the show and enjoy, have a little something to eat or have a little cocktail and have 30 minutes of entertainment and information.
Perfect.
So if it's 7:30 Eastern, what time is it in your time zone?
5:30. 5:30
5:30,
Mountain
and
time.
that's
Yes.
Pacific? Oh, Mountain. Okay.
Mountain. 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 East.
Perfect. All right. That sounds
Perfect.
great.
That'll be fun, huh?
You've got some very
Good on-
interesting guests lined up. That's for sure.
And we'll have a schedule. We'll create a schedule, and we'll be sharing it on Jumping Instructors Live, so you can see the guests that'll be coming in with Jay's shows, and you can connect with Jay and talk to him whenever you want.
Yes, what I will also do is we won't be taking live questions on the shows, but I will be putting out questions before the shows, like the week before the show, and looking for input from the audience. And then I'm going to, and I've done this with my articles, and I try to incorporate some of those questions into the interview.
And how do people get access to those questions?
Well, that would be my producer's job. No, I'm just kidding.
Are they going to be posted
we'll be
on
putting that out
Jumping
through social media
Instructors,
channels, through
Well,
Facebook.
we could
Sure.
add it to your promotions post too, because
On-
when he does a show, each guest that he has will create a promotions post, and on that we could actually open it up for questions on that too.
Yeah, that would be great, because I've had with my written articles so many great questions that have come from people, just and I'll put it out, and we'll get back I'll get back 100 questions, 200 questions saying, hey, can you ask about this? And there's times I'm like, oh, that's a great angle. I never, and look
Yeah.
at that. Or if I have 7 people ask the same question, I'm like, okay, obviously this is very relevant.
People want to know for
Public,
sure.
and let's make sure that this is a priority. So yeah, definitely I'm looking for that interaction, because this show ultimately is for you. This is for you to learn about the horse world and find out why we do this crazy business.
And what's going on behind the scenes, like you said, because you've been back there enough to know the ins and out of that too.
Yes, yeah, there's a lot of stories, and I hope that throughout the show, some of those stories will become out to the public, because there's a lot of great times. There's a lot of super people in the industry. We work with amazing animals, and there's sometimes people focus on the negative. There's so many wonderful people and so many wonderful experiences, and I'm very privileged to have been part of have this as my lifestyle for the past.
We all are.
My whole life, really.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It's been a good business to me. I mean, it's been great.
it's horses. The horse world has forced me to do things I don't think I would have done any other way. We get so comfortable with stretching our imaginations and doing things like, who would have ever thought we would be doing this?
That's
Right?
true.
Yeah.
When I grew up, I didn't even know there was such a thing as horse trainers or riding instructors, and yet
Pretty
here,
much me too.
right, and yet here we are. We've gone into Facebook Lives. We've created a great community of people. We have people that are watching us internationally, everywhere, and it just goes viral, the things that we're doing, because people appreciate that we're willing to stick our necks out to reach out to them, to help them through not only this time, but to make a difference in how they're succeeding in their business as well. Well, thank you, Jay. Is there anything else you'd like to add about your show? It's called The Jay Duke Show. If you could flash that banner up there one more time.
Sure. Let's see if I can find it here.
So we have all these tools in the background that we can put up.
There you go. That's very cool, Jay.
So you can look for that post, and that'll tell
I'll
you.
think of a good question for you.
Oh, excellent. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Laura. And we'll be announcing more about what he'll be doing. He'll be starting the first week of May. Now, in the meantime, as Jay was starting his show, Laura has been busy over in YouTube land, because we're both on YouTube as well. Well, so is Jay. And she's been working with people with position fixes and that type of thing. She's put out videos. She's going to tell us about her YouTube channel. But anyway, so Laura and Patty put their heads together, and they decided that with this slot that they would like to be able to do something to help riding instructors go to the next level or whatever, with understanding more about riding positions and how to fix them and stuff. But Laura, I'm going to let you talk more about that. Can you tell me what you plan on doing with the rider position fixes show?
Sure. So that's going to be on Wednesday. I'm just going to put the banner up that
Next
shows
Wednesday.
our time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not today. It's the 29th, I believe, would be the first one.
Right.
And we're going to have a panel of people. So the first day on the 29th, we have myself and Patty, and Jay is also, we've asked Jay to come to sit
Jay?
Yeah. And we're going to look at some photos that people have sent in. If you're interested in sending a photo to us, you can send a photo to an email address, and I'll put that in the comments, to have your position reviewed live while we're on our live stream. And if you're
your students, if you have a student that you're having an issue with, because that's what we want to do. We want to help you find more ways to be able to help your riders get a better position, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's just, yeah. So we're thinking of ways to help instructors and riders to keep improving their riding, or their students' riders. That's what we're, and to be able to give back to the community as well, particularly during this.
Send in short videos too?
Short videos, not too big, less than 10 megs, like maybe 5 minutes. Don't want to eat up all my inbox.
Right.
And not going to be giving a riding lesson. We're going to point out some things that maybe you could do to, I don't know, bump your score up in your hunt around, or improve your equitation, bump your score up in your equitation, something like that.
So you'll be reviewing rider positions from photos and short videos that are sent to you, and then you're going to give solutions or your techniques that they can use.
Yeah, and including
to fix those.
And including exercises that you can do as well.
Yes, we are. It'll be fun.
So Patty, tell us what your dream is with the show that you're doing with the riding position fixes.
Well, I kind of hope that the instructors will listen and they'll pay attention to some of us that have been down the road and we've been there, done that, tried different things and what worked for us. And hopefully they'll be smart enough to pick up on some of the things that might work for them. None of it may work for them. It just depends on where they are and what they're doing and how they're going to do it. Just as we've talked about before, people are afraid to go to their neighbor and ask them a question.
Right.
Because they don't want the neighbor to look smarter than they are. So in certain areas, there's so many professionals, you kind of have to, but in smaller areas, it's a little more difficult. And I think we can kind of cross that bridge a little bit and we can answer questions. And people need to remember there is not a definite fix. All of us might have a way to do it, and maybe one of them will work. And if they don't, come back the next Wednesday and said, I tried all those things you told me to do and they didn't work.
Yeah.
What can we do now? But we'll be happy to do that. It'd be fun to do.
Mm-hmm.
And there is going to be an application process that you will submit to us, an application, so that we know we can't use any photos that have copyrights on them and that sort of thing. But so long as you have permission to have that photo shown and we give your permission, then we're good to go.
Perfect.
And she's going to share the link of where to go. It's I think it's equestrianslive@gmail.com.
That's the email. I was going to put that in the comments. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. So so you send your photos to Equestrians. Equestrians Live. I'm going to type that in the...
That's right. So what's the process you're going to use? For example, you have a photo of somebody. What are you going to do from that, Laura? Because I noticed you have a process that you use on YouTube. Will you be drawing on the pictures and that type of thing too?
Yeah. So the format's going to be, we're going to get our pictures, get the pictures taken, put them online, and we'll take a look at them. Like to look at, generally speaking, what's overall good, what can we like to fix, what can you fix right now? For example, helmet, the helmet doesn't fit properly, or simple things that may be overlooked because you see them every day as you're one of your riders or you don't know. And then, we're going to take a marker, say, hey, maybe this could be fixed here, work in the mechanics. I have a degree in engineering and I use my mechanics engineering angles, that type of thing, to help rider put them in the right position. So we do some of that, and also bring in special guests, for example, like Jay, to give their opinion based on what their experience is. Because what my experience is and what Jay's Patty's experience may be different. So having several different eyes on the same rider is going to be beneficial for everybody. So what Patty might say, what Jay might say, what I might say, we may say exactly the same thing, but using different words.
Exactly. And two, instructors, don't be, if you have a green rider and a green horse, and we've all made the comment that's not a great thing, don't be afraid to come in with it, because we've all been there and done that.
Right.
It's not the perfect thing, but there are tricks and there are things you can do with that to help that. So if you're listening and you want to join us for that, we'll be happy to discuss that also.
And Jay, you've done a lot of these. What do you envision will be happening?
Well, I think these are fantastic. I remember as a kid reading the George Morris ones.
Right.
Exactly.
And it's always very popular. So I think it's a great idea with what you're doing. For me, position is such a big part of riding, and that's something I work on all the time. Even though I'm not a per se an equitation coach specialist, that's not my forte, but I'm always working on position. And when I want to change, even say the horse's balance or change the horse's canter, then I'm looking to adjust the rider's position to make that happen. And that was always the way that I rode. It was always about, what could I do to get everything I could out of that particular horse that I was on? And, how could I adjust my seat or my rein length or my shoulder angle or whatever it happened to be. Yeah.
Hi, Laura.
Of that situation. And so I think this is just such a valuable resource for everybody. I know with my students, we spend a lot of time on video review. Like at the horse show, we'll, in the evenings we'll go through the videos of the rounds from today, and we'll try to break it down. And I know as a rider I would go through my videos all the time, and I'd be always watching position all the way around the ring, you know, even through the corners, in front of the jump, in the air, into the landing of the jump, how you were with your release and balance, everything.
I like what you say, Jay, when you said, well, even just putting my shoulders back a little bit, and even those simple things, even though it's just a split second of a photograph, those simple things can give the riders and trainers more insight into what's happening with their position so they can improve.
Well, we all understand that unless the
Yeah.
rider's balanced, they can't really balance the horse. So what are
That's true. I mean, position is function. I mean, that is about as basic as you can get. Position is function. And if you
staying in
can't
balance.
function it, can't make it work and keep your balance in the middle, then you have to fix your position so you can.
That's
And
right.
if you're on a uphill horse, it's going to be a little bit different. If you're on a downhill horse, it's going to be a little different. You're on a zippy horse, it's going to be a little different than that one that you got to put the Rowell spurs on. So it's, I think it's pretty cool.
I'd like to read a couple comments if that's okay. Elizabeth Crampton, thank you, Elizabeth, for putting in a comment.
Elizabeth.
How great to be able to have many trainers at once pick their brains. Love it. Yeah, exactly. And I think that kind of goes back to what we said, that we all may be saying the same thing, but because we say it in a different way or phrase it a bit differently, use different words, that we're all trying to get to the same point. But yeah, it's excellent. Okay, we have this one. Patricia Wilson Jellerson, thank you for Patricia. She says, you had a Facebook post yesterday, I think, on pet peeves in the show ring. Lots of great feedback. What are your pet peeves?
And we're talking about basically the post was a photo of a rider in the ring, and what the judges unconsciously just look at. For example, the helmet fit, the saddle pad fitting the saddle, the nose strap being in the correct place. What else was? Oh, the spur strap should be tucked away so they're not all over the
stirrup leathers.
Yep, stirrup leathers shouldn't be hanging over the saddle. Like, you know how we
shouldn't be wrapped.
They're flapping in the breeze. Those stirrup leathers, they need to be short, way up by under the rider, towards the saddle. So, what are some of your pet peeves, Laura?
Oh, my pet peeves. I hate it when the helmets don't fit properly and they have it, or it's hair nets that aren't on properly and the helmets are up. I think we went over this,
Dark look. Right. The helmets.
The helmets are up high.
We could do a whole show on pet peeves, and you don't want.
Well, we could do that. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Dirty boots.
One of my pet peeves is in the schooling ring. In the schooling ring, not necessarily in the show ring, but in the schooling ring, when trainers, coaches, instructors leave the jump cups on the jump standards and jump the jumps without removing the empty jump cups. That's my pet peeve that I'm going with.
That's a good one. And that is against, you are supposed to do that. And I go to teach clinics and I pull those cups off, and sometimes the trainers will go, "Why are you doing that?" And I'll go, "You've got to be kidding me. Here's your lesson number 626. I hate dirty boots. I am a fanatic about dirty boots. And those of you that know me know that when I go through the airport in Charlotte, I get my paddock boots polished.
Oh,
so,
nice.
But I think that when you enter the ring, that you must look the part, because show is part of this. And that if you're a professional and you zip from horse to horse to horse, I think we all know that, and it's a little different. But when you're going in an equitation class, or you go in a junior hunter class or a children's class, you've got to look clean and look the part, because it is a horse show. And that's a simple thing to do to make me, if I'm there, smile and go, look, that's what it's supposed to look like. Then you can get the wrong diagonal and trot and do a million different things. But you started off with me with a big smile, and that's always a good thing.
Right.
Pet peeve. Holding the pelham reins incorrectly.
Patty's going to have her own show.
I could go on and on and on with pet peeves.
So Patty, I have a question for you on that. The pelham reins. So do you follow the USF equitation rule, where the curb rein is to be your primary rein, and that's around the first two fingers, and then the snaffle rein is around the third finger. Is that correct? Is that what you follow?
Snaffle, curb, snaffle. That's been ingrained
Yeah,
in my brain.
yeah, but the snaffle rein is your main rein if you hold your hands.
Snaffle should be
Right.
down here, right? Snaffle
No,
should be here.
snaffle is up. Snaffle
Snaffle
comes down and through and over.
So
it
on
becomes
okay, so this is an interesting topic for me because I'm always contradicted on it. The USEF equitation rule is that you are to hold the curb rein around your index finger and your middle finger.
Right.
Okay, and then you are to hold the snaffle rein around your
Snaffle goes here.
that is what USEF requires.
But they cross each other. So if they cross each other, it then changes the angle. They require you that it be like if you take the two reins and you lay your snaffle rein on top of your curb rein, and you pick them up like they're one rein, and you slide your little finger or your ring finger in between. And so
your ring, it'd be your ring finger would be in between, but your ring finger would just be controlling the snaffle rein.
no, it's actually not. It's controlling the curb rein.
Well, that's okay. So, okay, I think we're talking about the same thing because
I think we are too. We're just
this
in a
is
different.
because, see how I was always taught, and like for instance, if you take snaffle and draw reins, okay, if you're riding in a snaffle
Right.
and draw reins, which I know some people think is awful, done correctly with the right rider and the right coaching, it can be a good tool for.
It's an aid.
But when you hold snaffle and draw reins, you hold your snaffle rein around your index and middle finger, and you hold your draw rein around your third finger. And so then that way you can release your third finger to soften off the pressure on the draw rein, or you can tighten it through that third finger to create more pressure on the draw rein. And that was always how I was taught with the curb reins as well, whether it be a Pelham or a 3-ring or any type of snaffle or any type of bit like that, where because your index finger, that's your main pressure point in your hand. So then that's the one that has the most control of the bit. And so I have personally a big problem with how the USEF mandates that you have to have the curb rein around the index finger, because now your primary point of contact is on the curb, which is not how any bit was ever designed to be. The curb was always designed to be used snaffle, direct contact first, leverage rein second.
Right.
Now I know I'm in the vast minority here.
No, I don't think you are.
No, I agree with you.
I was just looking. I don't have any reins down here, so I can't.
Always
Some people just go to the curb rein because they think it's easier to control a horse, but that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're controlling the horse. Maybe they need to at times, but it's easy for the judges to see which horses are being controlled and which ones are actually connecting with their riders.
We kind of see that too, but
yeah, just look, Patty, when you get a chance, you can look that up. It is a USEF equitation rule that the curb rein is your primary rein. And I got to tell you, I hate it. I hate it.
Well, I don't think that's what they mean. So I think that we can scream at them and tell them that's stupid.
Right.
Maybe.
I tell them that all the time, so they won't find it weird coming from me.
That's how it is taught, and that's how it's mandated as a rule.
But I never see it that way.
Oh yeah, you go to the equitation ring, every single person's holding the reins that way.
Right.
So point to me on your hand where the rule book says where the curb rein should be.
Okay, so the rule book says the curb rein should be over these two fingers.
That's what I thought. Okay, so that to me is okay. Weird.
And the third finger is holding the snaffle rein.
So
here.
snaffle here.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Snaffle here. Curb here. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Interesting.
And that, if you're say riding in a snaffle and draw range, you're not doing that. You better not be doing that. You have your snaffle.
Yeah, but you can hold those things so many different ways, and you can hold a Pelham rein with the snaffle over the top and the curb over the bottom, and hold them like that in the jumper ring. If you think you need to do that, it gives you more leverage.
Yes, and if you need to do it, then I would advise doing it. But technically, it is incorrect, and so I'm not sure why that's being used in the equitation ring, because technically, it's a cheat. It's a cheat, and there's nothing wrong with doing a cheat. It's not like it's an illegal thing. It's not like even like it's harsh on the horse.
Rule book out.
It is not the true American forward system of riding. It's a cheat. So, I'm
gonna have to play with them.
today.
You're right. I'm gonna have to play with them because I don't think that's how I see it when I see it. So I mean, I know that when I teach to hold a Pelham, I teach them to pick them up as one rein and then slide the ring finger between the two reins. So that makes it cross.
But do you
And then
pick up the curb first or the snaffle first?
Your snaffle is on top of your curb rein, and you hold it as one rein, and then you move your small finger or your ring finger through it, depending on the size of your hand.
Right. So then your curb rein is now your primary rein.
How fun is this? This is the type of discussions we have on all of our shows.
I mean,
No, because your snaffle rein is still the top one going over the top of your finger the most.
We have all these professionals discussing things.
I will have to play with it.
Let's go for another topic I'd like to talk about real quickly here. As part of the riding position thing is, let's do something simple like, you know, we all know one of the biggest issues that happens are riders that bring their heads too far forward, right? So what are some of the tricks that you use to teach a rider not to look down?
Are you asking me?
Anybody.
Sure. What I try to do is I actually try to use humor with it. So I'll be teaching a clinic and I'll talk about looking forward. I'll talk about looking, finding focal points and all that sort of thing. When that doesn't work, then I recommend that they go, with the dog collars that they get from the vet when they get stitches and that they have around their neck. I'm going to bring one of them for tomorrow's lesson, and then that way they won't be able to look down. And then usually they laugh so hard that then they just start listening to me and they look up.
So I have an instructor story. I had a client. She might be listening to this, and she kept looking down. So, and this was, I can't tell you how many years ago, 40 years ago. And I couldn't make her not do it. And she rode pretty well. She had pretty good angles. She had a nice pony, and she's always looking down. So I thought, okay, I'm going to get a roll of toilet paper, and I'm going to put a piece of yarn through it. So and tie it around her neck and put it under her chin, make her lift her chin up, kind of like your dog collar thing. So it worked great, and it was soft. And so my whole thing was, well, if she falls off, it'll break, or it's soft, it's not going to hurt her. I got a phone call from the mother that night that said, we are moving to blah, 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 because you embarrassed my daughter so much by telling her she felt like a piece of, then she needed toilet paper, which is not at all what I said. Right. So when you come up with these great ideas, think about the ramification of it.
That's right.
And because those things can happen.
And the way that I do it, I like to teach riders because I'm a visual person. So, I'm a lot in the dressage world, and they look down more than anybody, I think. But I always tell them, what color is your horse? And they'll look at me like, what? And I'll say, what color is your horse? And they'll look at me again and I say, well, you keep looking down. Are you afraid it's going to turn into an Appaloosa or a paint or a different color? And it finds humor, like you're saying, Jay. It's fun because then all I have to do is, as they're going around the ring, I can say, what color's your horse now? Right away they get it. They bring their heads up because they start looking where they're going instead of checking to make sure that the horse is underneath of them, right?
Yes,
exactly. My father was in the cavalry, and he was my first riding instructor. Which never worked so well. Anyway, it worked well for you though, Jay.
Knees tight, eh, Patty?
Yeah, exactly. And he told me that if I looked at the ground, I was going to end up at the ground. And that you look where you want to go, not where you don't want to be. You always look where you want to go. And I'll never forget it. And I've heard it a million times ever since, but it was an old riding thing, was look up where you're going, just like if you're driving a car. If you look down, you take the problem of crashing. Don't text and ride. That irritates me. And don't look down.
What do you do, Laura?
Well, I had an instructor who said, pretend you have a grapefruit there. So
better than a roll of toilet paper.
Yeah. And then, she would go around and she'd just go, grapefruit. grapefruit.
There you
So
go.
It's interesting how we can use words as because we've all been teaching a long time. So we found that, we've gone away from the typical system. What was it? Sit back, bring your head back. And we've created different ways of expressing, different ways that people can learn because we found that it's easier to come up with something a little bit out of the box. It's more fun for them. And it conveys the idea of what we want them to do so much faster.
So, and Randy, here's something that Misty Loggins, thank you very much, Misty, for putting this comment in. I met Misty at I think you met her too. I think this is the right person. She was at the in Pennsylvania. What were we doing?
The World Horse Expo, the Horse World Expo.
Horse World Expo. She says, aha, dog cone. I have a problem staring at the horse's head, so my trainer threatens to shove a paper plate in my mouth so I can't look down.
Do the same thing. I'd be always looking at the plate.
And
thinking there might be something on it.
When they look down, they start focusing, and then they lose the ability to keep their body following the horse. When you get what did Sally Swift call them? Hard eyes. When you focus on what the horse is doing, then you go from the awareness inside of your body into focusing on something, which can change your balance and your influence on a horse.
It does. And one quick point for people to realize that there is a direct correlation between upper body control and your eye level. And when the eye drops or when the eye turns in the air, which there's moments the eye should turn in the air, but most of the time that's not the case, then the body control is severely compromised at that point in time. And so it's very, very important to keep that eye level up. And again, find focal points in your arena. It can be, a tree or a sign or a letter or a post or whatever it happens to be. And it not only will help your eyes, which makes a tremendous difference to all aspects of your riding, but it will also greatly improve your upper body control.
Yes, I agree.
It will.
They're very important.
Patricia Wilson Jellerson also wrote in a comment here. My early trainer, Ron Danta, always said, ears in line with your shoulders. Work great for me. There's another comment.
Yes, it works great. And if you look forward, it's like keeping your shoulders on either side of the withers. I mean, there's a lot of different things. And keeping your eyes up, looking where you're going. And once they start to drive, you can really use that analogy.
Well, you can always say riding your bicycle.
Right, or riding your bike or doing
So,
something. Absolutely.
Elizabeth
Absolutely.
Crampton. Thank you, Elizabeth, for putting a comment in. My first trainer told us a horse would stop if you looked at the jump. At 9, I was so afraid to fall off, I never looked down.
I like that. Perfect. Whatever makes you think. Whatever makes you think, it's perfect.
Excellent.
I had an English colonel who was Major Lynch. And he would say, for God's teeth, for my teeth, for God's teeth, and eventually for your teeth, do it and do it now. That was a good one. Yeah, he was it's when I was eventing. That was a great one.
But we used to have so many of the instructors in our younger days were so military, and it's changed so much. Thank goodness, because I find I don't learn well with yelling and screaming, but it's nice to see how with the use of media and all the new things that we have access to, the biomechanics that they didn't have 50 years ago, how we can use it to change what we're doing with our riders' positions and everything, because we didn't have this knowledge then.
Sure, it's grown and grown and grown. Sometimes I think not necessarily for the best, but it has grown, and the horse showing is amazing, and the horses are amazing, and what they can do is amazing. What the riders do is amazing. I think there's some things missing, but it's okay. That's just me. I live in the mountains in North Carolina.
I live in a mountain in North Carolina too, so I have that excuse too. What about you, Jay?
I'm not in the mountains or North Carolina.
You're in Canada. What's are you on a hill or anything in Canada, or are your areas
no, it's treed and rivers and little hilly and lakes and stuff.
You're not near the Rockies?
Nice.
Couple hours.
Couple hours. And what about where you are, Laura?
Well, I just saw a post on Facebook today that Ottawa, where I live, is the coldest capital in the world today.
There you go. Good choice.
Ladies, I'm going to sign off.
All right. Yeah, we're about
Thank you
ending
very
the
much,
show anyway.
Jay.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. It was you ladies are fantastic. So keep
Thank
it
you.
up, and I appreciate seeing you. And have a great day.
Yep, we'll talk.
And we'll watch on next Monday night. This
Nope,
coming
nope,
Monday night.
2 weeks away.
2 weeks.
May 4th,
May 4th.
7:30 Eastern. Jay Duke Show on Jumping Instructors Live. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It will be fun.
And Jay,
Exactly.
you're going to be with us next Wednesday as part of our panel to review positions.
I look forward to it.
And we're going to play with some Pelham reins.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I wanted to
I'll
ask that.
get the diagrams for you, and then you will. I'm sure we're talking about the same thing. I'm sure we're on the
I'm
same.
sure we are. I'm sure we are.
I'll get the diagrams so everybody can see it. If I knew we were talking about it, of course, I would have had them ready. But I'll have them
Well,
ready.
you never know with us.
That's right, apparently.
All right. Have a great day, Jay. We're
Okay.
finishing up the show right now anyway. Is there anything else you'd like to say about your show, Laura and Patty?
Send
Well,
pictures.
I'm really looking forward to it, and if you have questions regarding what your students are doing, or your position, or exercises, put it in the comments. Ask your questions. We're going to put out a promotional post on the Jumping Instructors Live page, so make sure you go there so that you can bring your questions to us. If you have something specific you want addressed, we'd be happy to try and do that as well.
And you can send it to the email is equestrianslive@gmail.com.
Thank you for reminding me that.
Yes.
It's a good
That's
thing.
where you'll send your photos and videos is to that to that URL or to that email address. Again, it's equestrianslive@gmail.com, and she's going to put it on the banner down there so you can see
That's
it.
perfect. And ladies, I'm leaving you because I'm being waived from the husband.
Wait,
And so I'm out of here. And you guys have a great rest of the show. And Laura,
we're
I'll
closing
talk
the
to
show
you.
right now, Laura. We're ending.
we're
Yeah,
see
we're going to
you
wind it up.
Friday.
We're a little bit
Bye.
early today, but that's great. Thank you so much.
Yep, everybody. We'll see you. We'll see you next Monday. Come and watch Robert Robold and see what he has to share about hunter breeding and all that type of good stuff. On Wednesday, Laura's going to be doing with Patty the first show
And
on
Jay,
jumping. Right, with their guest will be Jay with jumping instruct. Wait, what is it called?
rider positions.
Fixes. Right, rider position fixes. And of course, we'll have a show on Friday too. And this Friday. Anyway, it's been great seeing you all again. Thank you for joining with us. You have a great day, and we'll see you on the other side of the fence. Bye.
Now go use this stuff. See ya. Bye. And